your driver, taxi driver.
Right, we can start recording. The Discord guys, there's a live chat. Yeah, live chat channel. You guys can chat there. I'm gonna have that open. Switch between that and TikTok as well. Righty then, let's go. So I think the last time we did a stream, we were where? Let's have a look. I think we were somewhere here. And then this week, while I was away, BTC did all of this funky bit. Now, I think when I got back, or was it Friday or so, BTC, we look at M15, and I did say that CSD happened here, and that was the ideal time or the perfect time to long, right? So when CSD starts to show up, and I did also mention when this wick happened here that our model is showing up for work. So what that basically means is we had an accumulation here, we had a run on liquidity, and then we had a push up, which generally is considered market structure shift for normal or other ICT traders. And then we had a retrace here, and then we had a push again. So if you didn't catch this bit here on the market structure shift where you'd long the pullback into this series of order blocks right here, you could have or you didn't catch the change in the state of delivery which happened here. So let's mark that off. Change in the state of delivery, basically the candle that took the lows. This is your low here. That's the low. This is the candle that took the low. Candle that took the low got traded through. As soon as you see something like that happen, immediately you want to start thinking entry models, either OB here, or you could have pushed for a little lower. Then you'd look for CSD somewhere in here, and then you'd enter. What I generally do is I'm more aggressive on my entries, and I go for entering on a CSD, right? Now, say you missed the CSD entry, say you missed the pullback here. Where could you have entered? Do any of y'all know where we could have entered after this bit of price action? Seeing as on a larger picture from last week, or well, from a few weeks now, we've been looking for a push up. Let's go to H4 really quickly before we get back there. We've been looking for a push back up to, let's go here rather, right? We've been looking for a push back up to a few places, right? And we're going to talk about a few more places today. We had the Darth Maul low and high, which was basically this candle's high here. I think this was CPI, and then this candle's low, which left a wick on either side on H1 if you look at that. And you generally, what happens is, or what we said would happen is that one side is tested first, and then price moves to the other side of the Darth Maul candle high, right? So we were getting stuck at the equilibrium, or the 50% of the Darth Maul candle in this area here. Then price eventually now broke through it, and targets for this is around 30k, right? There's an order block here on H4, daily order block that we want rated. There's a rejection block all the way up here, meaning if we look at that on a daily, you can see that there's I took it from candle body to top of the wick, and we have a few wicks on either side here, so rejection block vibes on this one. And like I said previously, we had OB validation and market structure shift. We're looking for all of this liquidity that was made here to be tapped into, right? So we have the order block low here. We have another Darth Maul candle that I noticed on a daily. If we zoom in here, you'd see it coming with this candle here, right? Tiny body. large wick to the upside and the downside. And we've already now tested the, let's delete this properly. We've tested the low of that candle. We now, what is the equilibrium of that candle? Where does that come in? Wouldn't it be interesting if, okay, not, so range equalizer is here. Haven't quite tested it yet, but again, so we have some confluence with the low of the order block, which is this candle here. We have the Darth Maul candle high, which is there, and we have the rejection block up here, and we have something else which is the start of the delivery, the blue level EO. So basically where we got that from is when this down candle here broke through these lows here, the very next candle is this candle, started a new delivery down. We did this and then we rolled over here. So now I'm looking for, just as all of this liquidity here was taken, we're looking for eventually in the next few days to make a push up here at least, and then roll over, right? Why roll over? We'll tackle that now. I'm looking for this move up to end up being a failure swing, right? So basically what that would entail is if we had price action like that moved up, we had this bit of price action where we are right now. I'm looking for this to be the failure swing, an OLR, right? This would be the real low. And then if we can do something like that to move up past this rejection block afterwards, right? 30K plus. This would then put us roughly around the 25K order block, as low as 22K. We'll go and talk about that as well. So the plans haven't changed for a few weeks. We're still looking for BTC to come and test this sort of level here into the rejection block, and ultimately or ideally this EO level, right? Now the EO level, interestingly enough, was let's just hop onto on the monthly. We don't see it. Let's have a look at the weekly. The EO level is also a failure swing high, right? So we have a higher candle here, which is the order block. We have a wick up here on the very next down candle. So all of these would then be a draw on liquidity. We've seen this before in smaller time frames. These would be failure swings, failure to go higher, price goes lower. These house liquidity, price must now start to reach up here, right? I won't target the highs because I don't want it to take the high out right now. So the next or the lowest hanging fruits would be here, here, and here, right? So a lot of confluence in this area here with the Darth Maul high, order block, low of the order block, and the start of the EO, the blue level. We'll talk about the blue levels now and why I think we should get there. What else? So that's it on a daily time frame, right? Clearly we broke above. So here's something else that's interesting now, right? Here was the range that we built in here. There's the run of the range. There's the push up. So I'm going to come back to this now. What this has done on a smaller time frame, we made a higher low here, which led to a higher high here. And on the daily, we have rejection block. I'm just going to change the color of this rejection block because we've had this rejection block for a while as well. So that's a daily rejection block. And I've marked off a few things, right? One of these 50% in the red levels here is the entire down candle here, and the lower 50% is just the 50% of the wick only, right? The consequent encroachment of that wick. So you can see where price didn't close below it. You can see that there, especially the lower one, right? So we can get rid of that one. And then we'll switch up to a higher time frame and have a look at what's going on there as well. So rejection block vibes here on the daily, higher low to higher high. What that has done is if we took sell side here and we took buy side here, this in essence should be a dealing range, right? Make sense? So if that is a dealing range, then we should anticipate retracement and a push higher. Now, how deep can it go? What you need to take into account is on a lower time frame, once price breaks through the order blocks created here, so this one here that I have is a breaker right now, or rejection block in fact, price should retest this rejection block, and this is the only time where you would be allowed to buy when price is not in discount, right? So if I had to fib this here from, let's say, here to here, right, you can see 50% comes in around 27.2, 27.1. Now I'm well aware that on BTC1 or the CME futures chart, there's, I think around here somewhere is where the gap is. I'm not saying that they can't bring it down there, tap that 50% and then move. For me, for now, what I'd like to see is the breaker hold here. Price can then move away. If it wants, it can do a little liquidity grab here, take out some liquidity here, and then continue moving higher, right? Not much in terms of news except NFP on Thursday, so that may be a catalyst. For now, broke above the breaker, retesting here. The dotted line is 50% of the breaker. We've tapped that exactly. Now we're looking for price to move higher. Maybe the NFP does something like that, but ultimately move up towards 30K, right? Now, in the bigger picture, and we'll come down to the lower time frame to talk about that entry. In the bigger picture, we're looking for this, or I'm looking for this to be, if all of this was accumulation happening here, then this push up, as bullish as it may seem, we want it to be a failure swing. Failure swing meaning failure to go higher than this high here. Meaning we're going to have or anticipate an OLR or an open run, open liquidity run here next, right? To take out these guys who are expecting price to do something like that. Once they do this and I get CSD here, right? However they do it, if they do it like that, then do it like this, and then give us our model here, that's fine. But anticipate this to happen after 30K. That's the anticipation or expectation for that. So this move here, as bullish as it may seem, I want to see it reject around this area of confluence and then roll over here. The fractal that we've been tracking on that one is something close to, no, not here, something close to, is it this one? Close to the NAS delivery from early on in the year or last year. You see that? Where we had this price action here. There's the wick here of this candle. There's your down candle that happened last Friday, and then you can see where we pushed up. I'm going to zoom in a bit more into that so you guys can see it, because you should be aware that of this fractal that I'm showing you, because I think I've shown it for the last 3 weeks maybe, Swath, I think. Can you guys still hear me? Everything good?
Yeah. Sorry, was muted.
I'm gonna do. We'll speak a bit more about ANN and the other stuff at the end, right? So, yeah, this fractal we've been eyeing for a few weeks now. You can see it's almost spot on, right? There's this here. Then we. This is one of the reasons why I wasn't too frazzled when we had this move down here, because I didn't expect it to go lower than this. And you can see it in the fractal. It would have been this piece of price action here, and then price moved up. Now you can see in the next few days, because this entire fractal here is, I think, was taken from a higher time frame, so the candles are a bit spread out. And we're not trading a pattern in particular here, right? It's just the fractal nature of the pattern. We already have our model in place here and our expectations. So remember I said that we want the breaker to hold around here. and we want price to move higher. Now look what happens here. How does this bit here get here? It means price would have had to do something like that, right? So we're here now, we're retracing here. Expectation is that NFP comes, spikes down, immediately spikes back up, ranges, and then goes towards that 30K mark, right? So where you see it here. Now this fractal in particular doesn't get to 30K. So it's something that we'd have to monitor if there is CSD that comes in around these highs here, right? So something's happening here. There is an order block here that was created. So it's something that we would have to look at. What's interesting though, that I mentioned earlier today, is that we have now started the yearly manipulation phase. So if you look at this, if this was the accumulation phase on the yearly candle, right up until this point, which was Saturday 27th of May, right? We entered the manipulation phase, and then you saw that sudden spike up that happened over the weekend, and all of this from May 27th to August 8th is a manipulation phase. I've spoken about this one in particular before, where if we condense this fractal up a bit, your AMD or your power of 3, what I found was happens in two variants, where you had accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, or you have accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? We're looking at it for it to be more like a zigzag pattern. So failure swing to 30K, start bleeding down towards 23 or lower. Now this blue level that we had here on a daily, what we said there was that this blue level is where they needed to print a down candle here. They need to print a down candle right here, because everything, so this here to here is balanced. Anything above this level here is running on buy side liquidity, right? So in order to make the range efficient, they need to come down here and print a down candle here. If they don't print the down candle here and then take the high, it's going to be sus. So you can see the way it played out on NAS in particular, where after this run to 30K, we get something like this, and then price spikes up, comes back to this level here, and then it runs down for the liquidity, prints the down candle, and then the down candle's high gets taken, and then price just starts continuing and doesn't look back. So we need to be wary or aware of the need to print a down candle right here at this level 22,410. It could go lower, but they need to print a down candle body close. So for me, it would be a black body close here. And then on the lower time frame, if we start to see CSD happening there, then that's great, right? Because then that takes us into something like that. Right, so that's the high time frame. You guys are with the plan, you get the plan. It may be a slow 2 months coming in, but 30K ideally is where we want to short down here. And then we'd look at this being the model forming here. What else can we say? Nothing else on the high time frame. Let's switch back to the low time frames. Right here. So when we started the stream, we had a look at BTC. I like to look at it on M15. And what we did say was, if you had not, let's zoom in here. If you had not gotten in on this retrace, then, or the CSD that happened here, or the retracement that happened here, then the next bet or best bet for you would be buy side, sell side taken with this candle, buy side taken here. There's your dealing range created here. Let's put a fib on that. Look for any fair value gaps around the 50%. So if this was that, there's your 50%. any fair value gaps at the 50% or near. So you've got an order block, you've got a breaker, you've got an order block, and you've got this fair value gap sitting here. Right, so you could have used this to enter here, stops below this low here, and then gone again, right? You can see price did dip back into the breaker here again, and then we had price move away. Right, so those are just basic entry models that are happening here now. If we looked on H4, H1, if you were looking for other entries or alternate entries, right? So remember, I've been preaching this, that, and I think I showed it here, right? The blue level showing up for work. That's, I think those were my exact words today. And basically what it means is once you break highs, right, and you have candle body closes above a high. So let's zoom in a bit more here so we can have a look at that. There. Delete that. So we had a high being broken here with speed, left a fair value gap behind. The very next candle after the one that closes above, so this is the candle that closed above. The very next one is the start of the new delivery. We use its low, the blue level, as a draw on liquidity. So what you would see here then is your model showing up again, which is accumulation, a failure swing, open liquidity run, a push, there's your retrace coming in here, and then continuation, right? So blue level showing up for work there. If you missed that one, there's another high being broken here, fair value gap being left behind. Very next candle's low is a draw on liquidity. So we had the low being taken and then a push up. Now if we look here very closely, there's a high being broken here by this candle. The very next candle's low should be the same thing essentially, right? Let's have a look here. There. Right there. Now I'm not sure if they've taken that or they may come back and take it. Let's have a look quickly here. Why do I not see any? I don't know why I don't see my cross anymore. Strange. Let's have a look. What time frame are we here? H4, and this is H4. Okay, great. The low of this candle, that H4 candle that we are in now, comes in at 27.51350. So this would be the blue level that we are speaking about here. 27.51350, and then this one is, this low is 27.51510. Interesting. So it means that they've already taken this low here by about $2, right? Let me see if I'm seeing things or my eyes are deceiving me. Low here 27.51350, this low 27.515. So this H4 candle now has breached the low here by $2 as a draw on liquidity, coupled with the fact that it's at the consequent encroachment of 50% of that breaker. Don't like that it's an up candle, but it is what it is. Price may start or want to start to move. Low time frame, there is some rejection block vibes happening here. So you may see price dip here. And the only alternate to that would be that this is accumulation, this is a failure swing, they do that, right? And they print a down candle in here. Then they take the down candles high, we get CSD, and then we move. So I'm watching around this level. We don't want it to go lower than the breaker at the moment, seeing as it just broke it. So we're looking for support ideas around the breaker here. Even if it does this, that's okay. It breaches the low, does that, creates the dealing range, and then we have that continuation. Right, that'll should take us to about Thursday. Is there any or are there any questions? Right, so BTC, the plan should be clear from a high time frame perspective. And
Yeah,
what
just
I,
a question.
sorry?
Just one question.
Yes.
We have a weekend. How is it with the void? Weekend
So,
void.
yeah, so generally, you know that we like those to fill, right? We like them to fill. Do they always fill immediately? No. It could fall on Tuesday, it could fall on Wednesday, it could leave it completely like it has done with previous price action around 22, 23, 24K. Those weekend voids or CME gaps as price started to pump up. This is Binance Perpetual, right? So let's have a look at BTC1 Bitcoin futures chart, and then there's your gap you're talking about here, right? Correct?
Hmm.
Now, remember the thing with gaps is that where did price open? Price opened up here. So it is a void. The last reference or point of order flow would be up here. There. You see that? Has it touched it? It has. Does it have to go lower? No. Will it
Okay.
fill? Probably at some point. It can. This here to here. So let's do that again. Anything below the blue line to here, where it closed on Friday, this is all real price action, right? Above it, it opened up. It had a void here, in fact. This is the last point or reference of order flow here. It's come back to touch that now. So does it have to go lower? No, it doesn't. Can it? Yes, it can.
Can I use the time frame from Sunday to measure something?
Yeah, well, what do you want to
For
measure?
example, the time Sunday 3 p.m. to 0 time.
What do you want to measure
Yeah.
exactly?
I want to make a deviation.
A deviation.
New York. Yeah, deviation from New York.
Right.
So,
So based on New
the
York time?
Yes, based on New York time.
Right. So you want to make it essentially from Sunday. Sunday, what time?
3 o'clock p.m.
But we won't find that on the CME chart, right? You want to use it on the.
Yeah.
We'll use it on Binance futures chart. Let's try that, right? So basically, you want to take from Sunday, 3 p.m. New York time.
Is it countable?
Technically, it's not, because it's not. So there's two ways that people look at it, right? Some people, like you would find. So you all aware that I'm currently testing the ANN algo trade signals from Synapses. And what's happening tomorrow is that they are launching, I think, tomorrow, 7 o'clock EST, they'll be launching indices and crypto. So with crypto, it would be BTC and Ethereum, and then the probabilities that they have, or the data that they have on BTC and Ethereum, is apparently amazing. And in one of the member-only Zooms that they had over the weekend, the question was asked is, will we be getting, or will a member be getting signals on a weekend, right? And there's two models for that. So they specifically look at a 7-day period. Then the model or the data would be centered around 7 days worth of data to give you the probabilities. And then there's one where it's a 5-day model where they don't consider any weekend price action. So Monday to Friday, and then Monday again to Friday. So there's two ways of looking at it, Al Dente. And most people generally consider the weekend to be scammy, right? The big guys are not around, liquidity is low, so price can move. Price can move.
Can be a false result.
Sorry?
it can be a false result.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So you notice that the last point of order flow has been touched, and it doesn't necessarily have to go lower. Not that it can't. Of course, it can. It can completely go right to Friday. So if then we would if okay, so then if we were considering something like that, then what you have to consider with, especially with the ANN model, is that they work on a true day. So that would be from let's say around starting at midnight New York, and only until 4 p.m. when New York closes. Anything after that is extended trading hours. They don't consider any of that, which means that if we had to put something on Friday's price action, and I don't know why I don't have a cross on this particular chart anymore. I'm just going to have to do it here. So Friday, 4 p.m. was the last, so it means here. Let's look at this here, right? Till Sunday, 1800 there. None of this existed. So it would be as if it was that here. Agree?
Mhm.
But
That's
we,
what I meant with
yeah, but we use it
with
like more like this, right? There. So price opened up here. Let's call it 4 a.m.
So on weekend, on Sunday, we didn't have the Asian session.
Yeah, you can call it an extended,
From,
yeah,
from 8
extended.
o'clock p.m.
We should have.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what you'd be seeing then, right? Like as your CME gap. So with these, yeah, they can completely fill it, like I said, or the last point of reference of order flow would be here. You agree? And all of this would be the gap, and then price just comes back, tests the top here, and then it can move away.
Mhm. Okay.
Later on the way back down, it'll fill it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just like that, let's just look at a quick example of previous weeks, because we did it. I mentioned this to you in the Discord, right? So when this happened here, let's say, let's zoom in here. I think I may have mentioned it last week as well, in last week's stream. So Friday, 4 p.m., the big boys close around there to Monday, somewhere there, right? That means all of this doesn't exist. You agree? Which means that the point of reference for order flow is this blue level here. You see how that shows up for work? How price rejects off that level. And then the alternate level is where it opened up. I just want to see something quickly. It was a down candle. So we would then take this here as the reference point there. Agree? Now, I mentioned this in the last stream as well. Price opens up, forms a BPR here, front runs the 4 p.m. gap here, runs up, rejects off the 4 a.m., runs back down, taps that 4 p.m., and then it moves away. You see that? So that we can consider something being filled. More price action or more levels. Let's have a look here quickly. Friday 4 p.m. here, Monday 4 a.m. there. All of this doesn't exist. Now look here, there's a difference now, right? And I told you this because 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. opened up together, and then 8:15 also opened up together. This was one of the reasons why I said go long here, because they've opened up, the 4 a.m. and the 4 p.m. have opened up at the exact same price as the 8:15 open for New York, when you see them do that, it means they want to run price up or down. You saw that. So, I mean, you can go back and backtest when they do fill the CME gaps, when they don't, or I haven't delved too much into it. I'm aware of it. It's always at the back of my mind, but I won't go and dig deeper into something like that. Right, let's have a look here. So I think we've done all the speaking we can on BTC. The plans are not changing, they haven't changed. Expectation again, moving away, come back, and then carry on moving away. Now, you would have seen me do, where did I do it though? Did I do it here? Did I do it here? Let me just go to a monthly really quickly. I wasn't sure. The Coinbase. Not quite. But this is interesting. We had some notes made here as well, right? Now, this initial, there's your standard deviations that you may be speaking about. I think this was on a daily. We took the daily order block all the way back here. We took the daily order block and we put a standard deviation on it. There to there. And then, remember what I said? You'd look for initial impulse here, and then you'd look for 3.5 to 4 as your 3.5 ideally as your first objective. If I had to roughly draw that out in time, you'd see that there 4 standard deviations hit. But that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you, maybe it's on Bitstamp. Yeah, I think it's Bitstamp. Right, let's speak about this now, right? What I did on Twitter the other day, I took the BTC chart, cropped out the price, cropped out everything, and I inverted it as well. So people saw this. And I asked them whether they'd long or short this. So let's look at it this way. I'm going to switch it back over, right? When this candle was closed below with this monthly candle here, it made the very next candle, which created the FEG here, a blue level. So I can make this a blue level, which means it's a draw on liquidity. Them front running it here like this means that most likely at some point it's going to get taken. Ideally, we don't want it to get taken immediately like that. We've got about 2.5 days more left on this current monthly candle. We are looking for them to, if they really wanted, right, on a monthly, let's look at it this way. We'll make it purple. Now, everything below it balanced, everything above it not balanced, right? Which means we want them to print a monthly down candle here, and that level is 23,323. Can go a bit lower. Lower meaning we take the CE of this monthly wick, so as low as 21,282, but the close should come around the purple level. So if we get something like that, which means next month's candle, let's zoom in here. Once we open next month's candle up, it leaves us with this here as a failure swing high, and those failure swing highs draw on liquidity. So if we had to go down and look at it on H4, where is that putting us? See? It's putting us around the 30K mark again. You see that? So things are starting to fit in somewhat. Now, if this wasn't a monthly candle or this was just some piece of price action, wouldn't we be targeting OB at least? There. And this is some sort of inducement being created here to be taken there. Or this is, let's use it this way, or this is accumulation. When we get back down here as the failure swing to go lower, we do that next. No? Yes, no? Make sense? Then they can do anything they want after that.
Yes.
Then they can send it to hell. We don't care. So getting into this FEG here, and again, the need to want to print, let's do this one over here. Okay, this is the FEG, 1 second. That's the FEG here. Another purple level that we'd want to look at on a monthly is up here. And that would put us purple there. Means they need to print a monthly up candle body there. At some point. Because everything from here going down was running on sell side. All of this is sell side. So we want them to print down candle body here, up candle body here. Then what does that do? It makes all of this efficient, right? No need for them to come up here or here, especially if even here it's efficient. Here, all of this is one big balanced range. If we look at it from here to here as bodies, there, one big range. If they really wanted, what we could add for extra confluence was equilibrium of that, and then it pushes us maybe all the way up here as a maximum. Right, tap the equilibrium of the range and then move away. Because
So Poison, with the
yeah.
when you take that monthly order block and then you take the FEG, there's overlap there, right? So is that what we consider the unicorn?
Yep.
If we pull the
Yep. So the unicorn would be a breaker plus FEG, and if we considered breaker here would be down candles. Ideally, this would have been it here, right? There's your breaker here, and there's an FEG inside here. Now if this is bearish, then we don't want it to go past the breaker or close above. It could wick through the 50. We don't want any closes below the 50. So that would then put us in a different territory where we have something like that there, right? 34,386. On a monthly scale, it could just leave a long wick behind, right? But breaker plus FEG, there's your FEG in here. There's an order block. Let me just draw it out for you. So breaker, FEG, order block.
yeah.
All the good stuff in there. Coupled with the fact that we want to make the range efficient here, and we want them to make the range efficient here first. So your path would be next month's candle wicks up here, takes out last month's candle, the 30K. The next 2 months you start to see that. They print a down candle here, and then so all of these would become down candles. Let me see if I can draw that in. Black and something like that. Something like that, right? You get the idea? All of these down candles are what? Down candles in an uptrend. These are potential order blocks. So when we start to do this, lower time frame, we can there, right? That we'll start to see CSD, market structure shift, all of that good stuff there. Visually, does that
So
look okay?
yeah. So macro story for this. So I posted in the Discord the
Yeah.
2011 debt ceiling talks. Same thing sort of happened right before the deadline. They kind of make a deal, they end up signing, and people think that ends up being bullish. But you
Yep.
actually pull money out of the equities market and it goes into the debt market, right?
Yep.
So treasuries, all the shit that the government ends up issuing at a high rate, people will actually pull money out. So 2011, when that happened, I think the Nas dropped or the S&P dropped like 17% right afterwards. So we could see a drop on that later in the summer. The Fed pauses rate cuts, maybe reverses, but a pause at least will result in the initial rally, right? So the timing on this should all work in terms of what I expect for the macro as well,
Yeah.
which is
So
good. So
that's always
Yeah.
been Geo's department. I'm never a macro guy. I just go with what you guys tell me and what I expect the PA to sort of look like. So my plan
Can I
for
say?
next month's candle would be the protraction upward to create the wick, and then the move downward like that. So if you look at it, I'm trying to find a candle where a previous candle wicks into it and then but takes out the liquidity and then runs lower. And I'm sure we could find one here somewhere. Oh, well, you get the idea, right? We want the new month's candle to take, this is May's candle's candle high. Let's zoom in a bit more. Take May candle's high here. It leaves that kind of wick behind, and then we start to head down lower, right? And then we get the next month's candle coming in as well. Now if I have to draw this a bit accurately, it's going to leave you with one giant thing there. Not so pretty right there. And then let's clone that guy over. Ugh, bring him there. Something like that, right? We need, or we want them to do this, make this range efficient. There's no need for them to come here, right? Not yet. Everyone's expecting it, I suppose. That 16K, but that could come later. They're on a mission at the moment. The mission, higher pricing, and if shit's gonna hit the fan like we think it is, then why would they be selling it low? Wouldn't they want to lift price up like they are holding price up on Nas at the moment? So number go up only, and then that's possible. So I don't expect them to drive price too much lower than this 21.2 mark. If I look at Nas, when I had expectations somewhere around here, it didn't come in until way after, when you see the wick of, I think it was this candle here. Yeah, look at that candle, right? The wick from here to here. The consequent encroachment of that was that. And what do? They come back, they wick it, and then they F off. So just like we had, this is here, right? It would be this move here somewhere. Especially if they don't make that range efficient. So if they come down here and then they start to move away, that is sus, because it's still leaving the range inefficient on a higher time frame level here. So we'd want them to do that and then move away. So that's a lot of BTC that we just spoke about. This is 23, so it's in this area here. Ideally, a monthly candle close at 23,323 before they start moving higher. Again, start of the delivery here. Where will that delivery end? Most likely when they make this range efficient here. So they did this, they did this. Once they do this, the job is finished. This delivery ends here. New delivery starts. Yeah, that's it. That's it on the BTC part. It hasn't been, I don't even feel like talking about NAS too much now, to be honest with you. There's not much going on, nothing that we've... is tomorrow a holiday, Sloth?
Tomorrow what? Sorry?
Is tomorrow a holiday there?
No. Today's the holiday.
Today's the holiday.
Tomorrow's
Tomorrow's
normal.
right?
Yeah.
Again, we've said this from about 2 weeks ago. This is most likely where they're drawing to. Order block all the way up here. If not, these equal highs even higher, right? We did say they could bring it all the way back up here if they wanted on NAS and then drop it.
Poison.
Yes.
Because this depth sailing, the ICT has today a very nice space on Twitter.
Yeah, I only caught the end of it.
I asked him about this depth sailing, what he's meaning about, and he said he's not believing that they are crashing the markets like idiots.
Yeah.
We should look at the price in the charts, and there is the truth.
Yeah. So, look, we'll trade what's in front of us. And now is not the time, especially on NAS, right? It's not the time to be brave now. There's a lot of missed opportunities, especially I'm kicking myself for Friday, but I wasn't around, where ICT has given you everything that you need. Now, if I start to put the magic tools on here, let's go here and here, and then we look M5, you would have noticed that in fact, ICT's silver bullet is something very similar to what I use. So he considers the London silver bullet from 3 to 4 o'clock a.m. New York time, and any imbalances created then would be rebalanced, and then price would move away. It's the same thing that I would use New York, Chicago time, in fact. We use Chicago time purely based on the fact the CME is based in Chicago, right? So all their processes and how they handle things and the times they handle things is the times I'm interested in. So for Chicago, is this right? Yeah. This is still early here now, right? Overnight session. Did we get anything in here? Now, even in here, it didn't offer you much, right? In terms of this kind of delivery is all algorithmically driven. You can see the up and down here, right? You can see this. Look, pushing price higher algorithmically. Here, you could have maybe gotten into something here because this would be a rebalancing period here. Any FEG is created in this zone between, say, here 11 and around 1:30 or so. They'd come and rebalance and then they'd move away. So ordinarily these three ICT silver bullets would generally work, but you don't have to solely rely on an ICT silver bullet. This could have worked equally as well as standard things, right? We ran down, then we ran up. That's a dealing range from here to here. There's your retracement, and if you look at it, this red line here that you see here is the equilibrium of the London range. And what did they do? They come back to equilibrium, more especially where? 2 o'clock. London open, and then they're gone again. New dealing range created. Then they retrace. Where to? 4 a.m. Blue level. 4 a.m. 4 a.m. 4 p.m. See that? And then they're gone again. So what's actually going to happen for the guys that are here, or the guys that are going to watch this Saturday? I'm going to hold I think I'll post a link up tomorrow. We are going to run through all of the entry models, but in one go, even if it takes like 4 or 5 hours. All of my personal models that I use, and that can be used with tools like ANN, right? Having said that, what I want to do now is just gonna end our normal stream here. That's gonna get uploaded to